Welcome back to episode 14 of the Tech Lounge, and I'm joined here by Kev from Tech Showdown. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Brian. How about you, man?
Yeah, pretty good besides the heat. Yesterday it was about 37 degrees in this room, so like that's if anyone's wondering where where the constant steady stream of content has been, it's just been too damn hot to work at the moment. Like really, even now it's 32 degrees in this room. This will be the last time it'll happen because next summer I'll make sure I have aircon set up. And apparently apparently it's just one of the worst summers on hand here, so it's
Yeah,
just
it's
heat.
crazy. We've been reading about it, eh? The Duke's going up to like 40. How high is it going for you?
Yeah, well, like yesterday was like ridiculous. Like in my room, I mean, outside it might have been like 39 or something, but got up to like 37 or something, like on my thermometer.
Yeah.
So it was just crazy. It was
yeah,
crazy. I don't want to do it again.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
doing this with another summer of this. So yeah, like trying to make videos, man. I just like even put the graphics card in. There's just sweat just pouring down, and it's things like that.
Yeah.
You'll get headaches, and you will, yeah, there will be negative consequences for working in this weather. It's just bad. So been very bad. It's been a bad week actually. So how about yourself?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been pretty hot here as well. Not not to the same degree. Not sort of, you're gonna die if you go outside sort of heat like you get over there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a bit rough lately. But no, I've just been cruising, eh? We'll
Yeah.
we'll get into but quite a few more videos tomorrow. Start cranking out a keyboard review of this ducky and these headsets as well. So going to be doing peripherals mainly this week.
Okay, yeah, get that done. I've got to get through a heap of content when it hopefully cools down. Apparently, it was meant to be 29 today. That's what my mom told me. She was like, "Hey, it's gonna be 29." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And it's 32 already. It's like 9:30 in the morning, 32, and I'm already sweating. So yeah, hopefully things get a little bit cooler soon. Just get a bit of a break. It's just been so hot. But we got topics up here, guys.
Yeah.
The AMD Ryzen 1700X 8-core CPU benchmarks apparently leaked. So on WCCF Tech. So again, whatever comes out here, you just take it with a little grain of salt. But for what we see here,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
CPU is performing on par with what you would expect from a 6900K. Like it's looking like it's hitting pretty close with the 6900K.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. I
So
mean, that's very impressive. This is, I mean, yeah. You don't know. We don't know if these are 100% correct, but it's a good sign, anyways.
yeah, so well, that's the thing, right? I mean, if these numbers are on point, then you can expect the CPU to kick ass. It'll be indeed what the server market needs and also what gamers need, apparently. With what is it? This is one benchmark that does worry me though. The physics score. You've got their sort of in the same
Yeah,
the 8-core 16 thread sort of not doing as well as I'd hoped here. So that's sort of like the one benchmark that does worry me here is the physics
it's
score.
so interesting the way. Why? Yeah, this is quite interesting. Why does it fall down on the physics test? And yet in the first one, what was that?
No,
Integral math test
well, that's I
in
mean
CPU
it's
mark.
got to do with the architecture, of course, but that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying to a lot of the viewers. Like a lot of people are going to read this, be sharing it, and saying it's going to kick ass, and I'm sure it will be good value for money. There's no doubt about that. But coming out and saying like, oh, it's going to be just as good as the 6900K, it remains to be seen in what exact scenarios. Like if I get this thing, put it through a rendering test in Premiere Pro, is it going to pull out the
yeah,
same times as the 6900K? If we put it against the 7700K, is it going to get the same frame rates in the games? So that's the real world test that a lot of people are waiting for. The CPU pass mark scores or CPU mark scores aren't always the most accurate. So,
that
but
is true. And I mean, the point is as well is that people need to remember that even if it's say 5% slower than the 6900K, but it comes in at however much lower in price, people aren't gonna go out there and pay all that extra money for the 6900K if they can get this CPU for, a third cheaper or quarter. three-quarters of the price of the 6900K,
Yes.
for only 5% lower performance, people will make that deal every time. And as we've said previously on the show, Broadwell E CPUs in general aren't the best overclockers, but the 6900K isn't particularly good. Um, so that could be an advantage that that big Ryzen chip
Well,
has as well,
yeah, I mean they might only go to
potentially.
4 gigahertz too. That was the rumors coming out
Yeah,
as well. So I mean, your
yeah.
7700K might still be the gaming ducks nux sort of CPU
Single
at
threaded beast.
5.1 or 5
Yeah,
gigahertz. But you still got to. I
yeah,
mean, those
yeah.
chips are bad. You still got to delid the thing, which you shouldn't have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping this CPU does kick ass. So, especially the 6-core 12 thread. More eyes on that. So, yeah, guys, what we got here is apparently a CPU that is sort of tying with the 6900K, which is really good out of the get go. Though that
Yeah.
physics score sort of was a bit off, was a bit off. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a bit bizarre, eh? But even then, if you look at the physics score, I mean, it still scores above the 7700K. Um, but yeah, it's quite a bit lower than even the 6800K.
Yeah. So,
So
we're looking forward to what it's going to bring. Yeah, so hopefully that becomes a reality. Hopefully your Ryzen is as good as it looks on these benchmarks, and it is kick ass. So it's going to be the price of
yeah,
$389. I mean, for 8 core, 16 threads, that is a price to certainly love. But again, that pricing in ways is that is for the 8 core 16 thread. I mean, I hope AMD isn't undercutting itself, because I thought I thought their King Daddy CPU was meant to be $600. But apparently they've got the
well,
Ryzen
if
7
you
1800X, which is $500. So,
yeah. So at the bottom of that article, yeah, it shows the pricing with them. So you can see the 1800X is coming in at $500.
yeah.
But yeah, the 1700X 389. That is very very competitive.
Well, it's
Given
more than
the
competitive.
Yeah, that's insane. That's
So,
really really good. We're gonna have to see. The most interesting thing that I think reviewers like myself and Brian and others will really need to show you guys, the consumers, is the differences between these Ryzen CPUs. It's all well and good to compare them to the Intel chips, which is great, but we also need to compare them to things within their own lineup, like what I did with my AMD APU lineup. And then you'll probably be able to see which ones will be the best in terms of value for money, because there's going to be ones that come in at a good price point. I think the 1700X is a very good one, but also the 6 cores, the cheapest 6 core, as Brian has gone on about plenty of times, the 1500, Ryzen 5 1500, which is the 6 core 12 thread. I think that they're saying coming in at $229.
I gotta see that to believe it. 229. If it does perform as well as it should, then that's going to be a huge win for everyone PC gaming. I mean, 229, 6
Oh
cores, 12 threads.
yeah,
What I'm confused about is, though, it's got 100 megahertz higher base clock, and then you've got the 1600X coming in with 30 watts higher TDP. That's pretty weird. I mean, usually you don't get a TDP jump like that just off 100 megahertz and 200 megahertz boost clock. And that's $30 more expensive, which isn't that much. I mean, I would honestly pay the extra $30 if it is going to be a sorted chip, if it's going to be
yeah.
binned. If it's just a free for all, then yeah, you get your 229 and just overclock. But
Yeah. There'll be something going on. I mean, as you know, we don't know all the details yet, but yeah, I think one of those. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. That the 1500 with a B350 motherboard, that is going to be, for how much you spend, from what we can see on paper, anyways. That's going to look like some pretty damn good value for money, performance wise. That's going to be a very powerful setup
oh yeah,
for not much money. So yeah, if people were going to do budget builds with brand new parts, that could be the king if the performance is really that good. Because I mean, I don't know how the little
King,
i5s are
yeah.
going to compare to it anymore.
Could be King Ding, man. King Ding, is that what you're saying?
Yep.
So there it is. That's the Ryzen lineup.
XFR.
So what we've
Yeah.
really got here is apparently like not, they've got all these different SKU lineups. Like you've got this CPU, you've got so many different CPUs, but what we're looking at really is 4 different models of CPU. We've got 8 core 16 threads, 6 core 12 threads, 4 core 8 threads, and 4 cores 4 threads. So that's what you're looking at. You've got 4 different CPUs in this lineup in terms of actual unique CPUs, and that's going to hit the shelves. So and
Yeah.
Intel's got the same thing. When
Oh.
you look at it right, Intel's got the exact same
Yeah.
thing. You've got the dual core 2 threads, 2 cores 4 threads, 4 cores 4 threads, 4 cores 8 threads on their sort of main consumer Z270 lineup. So no, not now.
Yeah.
The Pentiums all have hyperthreading, so there's only got 3.
That's
So
what it is, Brian.
what?
Someone pointed out. I don't know if you noticed this already. I just noticed it. But the X on the end of it, those are the ones with XFR. You remember their auto overclocking feature, so it'll treat itself like GPU boost 3.0 or something, where the CPU will just, if
Okay.
temperatures allow, will
Yeah.
just take itself up and up and up. That's why it says XFR 3.7 gigahertz plus. So that means that'll be like the base, like what Nvidia does with GPUs, where it'll be
All right.
however megahertz plus, and then it'll go up to
So
say 4 gigahertz by itself. So
okay.
that's what the X is for, the XFR.
So the X is for if you're a turbo noob. Now you've heard about turbo noobs in games. They jump into the games. They've only had a few hours of gameplay, but they think they're pros, and then they end up getting slaughtered by someone who's played the game a lot longer. Basically, XFR is your turbo noob setting. So you can be a turbo noob and you can get better overclocks for doing nothing. So
Yeah, I'm sure that those CPUs will also overclock better than their other counterparts, given that it looks like that 30-watt higher TDP might be able to give it that extra power it needs
it depends on
to go
it
higher.
really depends on the node, man. That overclocking comes down to
Yeah.
the node. I've heard rumors, the 6900K, for example, is 6800K I've got in my rig at the moment. They're just terrible overclockers. They go to mine goes to 4.3 with a ridiculous high amount of voltage. I think even Wendell killed one of those CPUs running somewhere in the 1.3 region. I'm not too sure. Seriously, they're
Yeah.
just terrible. You
Yeah.
can't give them too much volts, otherwise they will die. They will just shit themselves. So you've got to be careful of the voltage you put through the Broadwell E CPUs, but at the same time, if this thing's hitting 4 gigahertz out of the factory, then you should expect it to at least be beating those 6800Ks, maybe 4.3, 4.4, sort of like a realistic scenario. But maybe in terms of hitting 5 gigahertz, they'd have to really mature their manufacturing line to do that. So that takes time.
Yeah, I think these will be binned as well, as someone said in the in chat. I would expect that to be the case. Yeah, the X chips will be the ones they'll feature, the XFR, and they're also going to be binned. I mean, you got to think about it from AMD's perspective. They're going to know that enthusiasts, like you, Brian, will look at these and be like, "Oh, I don't care about that because I'm going to do my own overclocking." So they will all just gravitate towards the cheaper one,
Yeah.
the 229 rather than the 259 one, because
That's where I'm
whatever.
gravitating.
So
Yeah.
that would be a very good video for you to do when these come out. Is take the non-X and the X and overclock both of them and see which one actually goes higher. Because if you can get way higher on the X model one, then maybe they are binned, and
But
could
then
be
the
something for even people that-
but that TDP would make sense then. You don't generally if you're allowing the CPU to be unlocked, and then you've got a lower TDP, and you've got the 1600X, for example, the 1500. We'll take this one here, the Ryzen 1500 versus the 1600X. See how it's got 30-watt TDP difference? That's because you're just grabbing the CPU and clocking it higher. It's pretty much an apples to apples thing. You've got essentially there's no binning. That's what that's indicating.
Yeah.
because you got that lower TDP. For instance, if we look at the E5450 versus the X5460, a very valid comparison, that had a lower TDP, but only had a slightly lower clock, like very slightly lower clock. And when people started overclocking them, they did indeed get lower temperatures on the E5450s on average. So, which means that it's binned for lower power consumption, which means that inherently it's a better chip. So, with that higher TDP figure, I'd say they're the same chip. I mean, you're not going to bin your cheaper CPUs to be better, right? So
yeah, exactly right.
I'm just if this is true, if this spec sheet is true, then we can see that I don't think there's any binning going on. That's just my guess. Guess.
No, that'll be the case. So
So
hopefully,
let me know what you guys think in chat. I always read that stuff. It's good. Even though I got to pull up the chat.
Yeah,
I just checked before.
um,
Someone said like the stream was dropping out. No, I've got no drop frames, so stream should be perfecto.
Yeah, I just checked. Everyone says it's fine now, so
Okay.
that should be good. Yeah, so hopefully, no, this is high TP. Yeah, we figured that. So, I think I'll try. I mean, I made inquiries into this already, but I'll probably work my way from the top down, go from the 1800X down through whatever ones I can get my hands on. But my main thing first will be I'll probably do a build system around Ryzen with Playtech, and then with that system, I'll go down the line and show the performance difference from different ones, because I'd rather test them out within their own lineup first, and then because everyone's going to be comparing them to Intel.
Yeah.
So I'll probably test them internally first, because there's going to be a million videos that's like, it's 1800X versus 6900K, or 1700X versus 7700K, and all of those videos will be coming out. So I'll just test them with each other, and that should be interesting.
Okay, well, yeah, I can't wait. So for me, I'm only really going to be testing probably two CPUs, the 1600X and the 1500. And then you can see, okay, is this going to be binned? Is there a massive difference? And, if my R5, if the cheaper model overclocks higher, then that's your conclusion. Just go for the cheaper CPU and just go bang it on a B350 and call it a day. We've got up here, they're also releasing their CPU coolers with it. So they've got the high performance like a Wraith, and they've got their TDP 95 watt, TDP 65 watt. So they've got 3 different CPU coolers here with their Ryzen CPUs hitting the shelves. They do look pretty normal.
They look good. I mean, it looks better than what Intel was spitting out for so long. So these won't actually look completely hideous in your rig. But again, guys, these are the Wraith cooler does put on a decent show.
The X, okay, guys, the X model will probably get the Wraith cooler. That's what we're missing out on. Okay, so you're paying an extra $30 probably for your Wraith cooler. There you go. Yeah,
and it'll be binned, and it'll be have XFR.
Well, it might not be binned. So I'm guessing it's not binned, but you get a Wraith cooler. So you're paying $30 for a Wraith cooler and a higher clock speed. Just programmed. Binning's something you'd have to know. Are they doing? You'd have to get that confirmation from an employee. Are they sorting the chips?
That's a very good. That's a very good guess, though, Brian. That is I completely agree. You've hit the nail on the head there. I would be very surprised if that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because of course they want the XFR to take advantage of lower temperatures.
It's hot, guys. I gotta have a mid break here for a bit of a water. Otherwise, I'll get a headache during stream. Yeah. So not much to it. Not much to it really. You're gonna get your CPUs there. That's what they look like, pretty much. And
the race will be good from the sense that it'll allow the XFR to. It won't limit it as much. So you're 100% right there. But of course, these aren't going to be the best. A lot of enthusiasts will obviously be using their own coolers on them.
Yeah, the chat makes a good point though. Are they going to release tray CPUs as well, and how much cheaper will they be? I mean, Intel's pretty much doing it now with their case CPUs. You don't even get a cooler with them, but they're not passing on the savings, which is annoying. Are AMD going to do something similar as well? Just release the standalone CPUs without coolers in general. I think that's what I'd like to see. I mean, I don't really know anyone rocking overclocks with a stock cooler, unless it was back in the day. Like, unless you're buying, even now, you're buying one of those old school Intel CPUs and you've just got one of those massive fat Intel coolers lying around. Those things actually did a decent job. I remember I clocked like a Xeon up good 30 or 40% on one of those things, and it was still holding up. So, yeah, it remains to be seen. I'd like to see a standalone there. We've got the Ryzen. He's just oh, man.
What's up?
The Raja Kaduri, that's his name. I was like, yeah, I forgot his name. I saw there. Raja Kaduri is just like sitting down looking at his Zen CPU, which is purple. Ed from TechSource would be completely... he'd have a heart attack seeing those cables in the background.
Yeah,
So,
probably.
cable management, man. Raja, where's your cable management, bro? So that's like that's what I'm looking at with that photo. So we've got here the next article though. Something that you brought up as well. Kev wanted to talk about this. Is the AMD reveals another edge for Ryzen, and that's where it will be smaller. So chip for chip, pound for pound, the CPU is going to be smaller than competitor A with a 14 nanometer CPU and 4-core A3. Yeah, which is just Skylake or Kaby Lake CPU.
That'll be a 6700K, which is essentially very similar to the Kaby Lake 7700K. See, this is interesting. The actual area, 44 millimeters squared compared to 49. The main thing, I mean, a lot of you guys will probably just be like, oh, why does that even matter? It doesn't particularly, but the main thing is the cache, or cache, however you want to say it. The L2, you can see it's double on Zen by comparison. So that's a really good thing. That a lot of you guys will probably notice that is quite good.
Yeah, I like the double the L2. That's looking pretty sexy. But I mean, as for terms of the specs,
how would that help people though? Like, how would you define it as helping? It just gives the CPU access to.
Well, it's got more. It's got faster memory closer to the cores. So
closer.
That's that would be, if you were looking at that integer math, for example, that would probably be gained from that increase in L2. I mean, I'd have to get Wendell on. He knows more about those specifics, but that would be my guess. Would be the L2 would be giving you those performance benefits in integer math and whatnot. But I mean, I've always been a believer in having more of that, more of the juicy cache, however you want to say it. I've been a big fan of having more of it on the CPU. I thought back in the day, especially back in the day, I mean, nowadays your CPUs are so fast that you're probably not going to see it so much. But I always thought back in the day, it did make a difference, like in terms of how smooth your games came out. I mean, it's still dependent, of course. Your drivers on your video cards are way more important, things like that. But I always used to, like, back in the day, like, I always thought the smoothest experience was an AMD CPU coupled with a Nvidia graphics card. I always thought that was, before the stuttering became a big thing, I always thought that was the combination to have for sort of this buttery smooth gameplay. But then again, could just all be in my head, but apparently not. Sometimes it's not all in my head, because but then all these studies come out and people are getting like high frame rate cameras and analyzing it and saying, yeah, this and this is true. So but anyway, apparently the CPU is small.
Just a second, Brian. I just asked in chat. Half the people say the stream's fine, but then the other half, people are saying can't load the stream, can't load.
Okay, well, the stream health's got a green light, man. If the stream health, I've got no drop frames, so it would be on YouTube's end, like something going on with YouTube.
Something funny's going on there.
Yeah, so I'm uploading to the Australian server, absolutely fine. So yeah, we're uploading to the forums, absolutely fine. So yeah, and I will plug the forums, guys. Head over to techcity.tv/forums. Because we're growing. We got all the good discussion going on. But here we got Ryzen. It's going to be smaller. I mean, really, what's that going to do for you guys? I don't know. Might be more power efficient if it's a better CPU. But enough of that article. We got here Nvidia surges again, like 50%, more than 50%. So their revenue's up again. I mean, these guys are just completely dominating the market. Look at this though. Nvidia was the best performer on the S&P 500 in 2016. That is a feat in its own.
That's crazy.
Out of
Yeah,
500
yeah.
companies on there, they're the best. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that shows you that they've really got a formula. That's huge news. The best company on the S&P 500, not only in the tech. I mean, look, there's heaps of companies on there, but this is a tech company, and they're killing it. The guys selling us graphics cards and whatnot. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people in the comments, their drivers. Yeah, I agree, completely agree. Some of the things need improvement. But in terms of being that business-driven, making money, making those product milking us, the consumers, they're doing a great job of it.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, some people out there might not understand. I just thought I'd explain really quick. S&P is the Standard & Poor's 500 list. So that's a stock market list for, publicly traded companies like Nvidia is. So that means if it was the best performer, that means that the stock has risen the most in terms of its value. And that's really good for any company if your stock price is continually growing.
Well, it's an index to gauge the market. Like, it's an index. They pull 500 companies out. Usually, what are they? Middle. They're usually large cap in S&P 500, I think. So they pull out 500 companies and they say, okay, this is how the market's performing. It's an index, essentially. It's an average. Now, companies come in, companies come out all the time. Companies will come onto this index, companies will drop out because of whatever. They'll go liquidated, whatever. Things will happen, but the S&P 500 is changing. And so, it's just an index to give you a price of how the overall market is doing, so to speak. So a lot of people will invest in S&P 500 funds as well. So they invest in a fund that pretty much performs as this index performs. So there's a few reasons for it. But Nvidia is doing the best out of those, which is pretty damn impressive. So that's
very good.
So everything's up on their business, and their automotive business is rising, like apparently 37.6%. So they've obviously got into a good venture there with their, especially with Tesla. So their automatic driving systems. I mean, that's going to be huge. I imagine this is a growing market too. They could really foresee that. So they're getting into a really profitable market there. So I mean, that's Nvidia, guys. They're just dominating the market, milking it. So next time you have $500 in your wallet, you just got to hand it over to Nvidia. That's pretty much it.
And turn into 1,000 before your eyes. But the one thing I will give Nvidia, and I think a lot of people in the tech community did give it, rather than Intel, who has Intel has been very incremental with its jumps from, we look at Kaby Lake compared to Skylake, that is a very small jump. Whereas you can see that Nvidia's also, there is more competition with the graphics cards, but Nvidia still dominates the market. But the jump to Pascal was fantastic. Absolutely phenomenal. So that's a really good thing as well. Like Pascal was such a leap forward in so many ways.
Oh, Pascal was just not really. I mean, not really for actual gains. So they just tweaked the architecture. I mean, it would have cost a lot of money, but they tweaked it so they could just get higher clocks.
The amount of features it came with, the jump in performance for a lot of the GPUs themselves compared to when I did the testing, the 980 Ti and the 1070 had similar performance, but you have to think that the 1070 also uses much less power.
Yeah, it's 14 nanometer, but not only that, they've jacked up the compression. So I mean, it's like
it did.
Where was
impressive, though?
There wasn't really any raw performance gains, And if you were to have the same compression going on the 980 Ti, I'd say the 980 Ti would be starting to smoke it then, So it's up in the air.
I think the feature jump alone was very good.
Yeah, I mean, I was
quite
impressed. I mean,
a
the
lot of
1070 was a
features
great
came.
card. I'm running one now. Great. It's probably like your high-end sort of, value, if that's the word to say, value for money card. I mean, AMD doesn't have a competitor to it at the moment.
Yeah.
So I would like to see AMD release their RX 490 or whatever ASAP to compete with the GTX 1070. But in terms of the GTX 1070 over the 980 Ti, I don't know anyone who's had like any gamer that's got a 980 Ti and then went out and bought a 1070. They're pretty much the same card. And when you overclock them, the 980 Ti should beat the 1070, at least in every case that I've seen. So really what you want to look at is, what you're doing as an individual. Do you need to upgrade? I mean, because there was 980 Ti's. I saw them going for as low as 300 US. That's so cheap for a 980 Ti. That thing is a beast at that price. And I mean, the 6GB frame buffer, that thing is huge. It's going to be absolutely fine for 1440p. So, or even 4K. I mean, I had no problems playing games at 4K with that. So,
Yeah,
poof,
no,
it's all up in the air. Magic. It's magic. What was that again? Wasn't that the Battlefield thing? It's magic. Okay, so Intel is pouring. So next up here, Intel is going to make factories in Arizona, in the US. So they're bringing business back home. So apparently, building of the factory is 3,000 tech jobs, and then you've got 10,000 long-term jobs coming to the US. So this is the 7-nanometer manufacturing process. This will be after the 3 generations of Cannon Lake to be introduced. So later this year, I hopefully will get I don't know if it's hopefully, maybe not hopefully, but we're going to get Intel's 10-nanometer lineup, and that'll be their node shrink. Then the next year, in 2018, we should be getting their architectural change. So we hopefully should be getting 5% this year, 5% next year IPC gains, and then at the expense of clock rates, I don't know. That's one big thing that remains to be seen, because we've got the CPUs now up to 5 gigahertz. Really, a lot of people are running 5 gigahertz on the 7700Ks. I've read a lot of the reviews everywhere, talked to a lot of people. A lot of people are getting these things to around 5 gigahertz. So is Cannon Lake, is that going to be dropping down the clock speeds on average? If so, that's really going to hurt Intel, even if they do get their 5% IPC gains. So that's what I was saying in my review with the Kaby Lake CPUs, is that, okay, we've got no IPC gains. We did get an impressive overclock, which is the saving grace for Kaby Lake. But at the same time, Intel's really raised their own bar that they have to perform now. Because what else have they got? They've got to give us IPC gains, but at the same time, they put this pressure on themselves where they have to give you the higher clock speeds with that. So, interesting.
Yeah.
Intel.
And they decreased the quality of the thermal paste.
Yeah,
So
that was bad.
They gave you higher clock speeds with higher temps as well.
Yeah, I mean,
fantastic.
yeah. Well, Steve from Hardware Unboxed, he's like, messaged me, because he's like, I sent him the kit straight away. I was like, look, man, go get this thing. Go get yourself some Liquid Pro. Take care of yourself. He did the video too. He found a huge difference in temperatures. It's huge. It's the thing. Like, I'm getting an extra 200 megahertz at 20 degrees lower. So, like, I'm getting higher clock speeds, pumping higher voltage through it, and getting a higher overclock. So, this time around, delitting's just it's crucial. You have to do it. You just have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because, I mean, these things do overclock really high, but you just have to get the temps down. So, he found out came to the same conclusion. You just have to delid these things at higher overclocks. So, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. It's good to see these things. And I mean, with Tesla's Gigafactory they're building in Nevada, I believe, that's good in the US. A lot of construction going on now. A lot of companies building up big factories and that, which will lower prices for consumers, because what's the name of it called? When they make more of something, the price gets cheaper. I forgot the term they use. But yeah, that's basically it. There'll be more stuff getting built.
Oh, inflation. What are you talking about? Just inflation?
No, not inflation. The I've gone blank. I can't remember what it's called. The saying that someone.
Kev's had a brain fart.
Yeah, I am. When you build more of something, like with
economies
the
of
old
scale.
Example, economies of scale. That's
Okay.
it. That's it.
Right.
So, like with Henry Ford with the Model T, he built they built so many of them that he could bring the price of the car
Oh,
down.
yeah,
When
it's just
back
economies
then
of scale,
cars were
brother.
so expensive.
Yeah.
So that was the
Well, that's
thing,
the advantage bigger companies have over little companies. Yeah, is economies of scale.
Yeah,
So,
mass production. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, just building stuff on a huge scale to bring down the prices. So that'll be good as well.
So, and here we are, guys, a year later. So we're moving on now. Call of Duty is going back to its roots. I mean, isn't every year we always hear?
Thank God.
We always hear about COD hype. COD's always going. This year's gonna be the year for COD. This year is going. It's there, man. And this year again is gonna be the year for COD. It's going back to its roots. But apparently we're looking at a World War II genre. I mean, they did a survey. And I think that obviously the game would already be in production. So they're like, okay, I said I want to see a modern, like right now. So we've got all these cool guns out there. I want to see them in the game now. So I sort of voted for the mid one, not the future, not the past, because we got that with Battlefield 1. That was a real sort of World War 1 take back to World War 1.
Yeah, but there wasn't really that many good World War One games. Was the thing. I mean, Verdun was about the only other decent one. But I voted for World War One, World War Two, and it said 67% of people agree. So that's
But they're
quite
probably,
good. I mean, something.
They're probably
something
banking
slightly
on
after
that.
would
They
be
probably
good
did
as
a
well.
survey, little survey off the books, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah. So they've already got this in production, guys. So there it is. It looks like the next COD is going to be a World War II genre, which I'm happy with. World War the past or now, I'd much rather than this future stuff where you're like running on walls, doing backflips, laser cannons. It's just a bit too much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly right.
yeah. So I like what they're doing, at least with the direction. But again, is it going to sell as well as Black Ops 3 did? Because Infinite Warfare didn't do anywhere near as good as Black Ops 3. So remains to be seen. Good old COD. I like my COD. Hey.
Yeah.
Everyone liked the Infinite Warfare PC. That was a good PC. You can't hate. I know there's going to be some people in chat, they're just going to rage. They hate COD, like, with a passion. I've never minded it. I mean, if you were a console gamer, I probably could understand. I mean, I've seen some of my friends play it on console, and there's just like, it's like you're jumping into this freaking room with like there's 8-year-olds on there too, man. You can just hear these guys like they haven't even hit, they're not even close to puberty, and it's like this is just like discussion. Yeah, man, I'm gonna go kill him, man. I'm gonna go flank you, man. It's like, like you're just like, what? Turn that shit off, like,
Yeah. No,
So
I think it's better to judge it game by game.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, there are really good games within the Call of Duty lineup that are big exceptions to the rule that they're all really average or whatever.
Yeah.
Black Ops was extremely good as well. It's probably my favorite.
So I'm watching the live view account. There, it looks like there's something wrong with the servers, maybe in the States or something. Yeah, so looks like it's a USA only problem because I've seen like the live numbers just drop. So unfortunately, it looks like YouTube in the US is having problems because people are messaging the UK is fine. So yeah, interesting. But yeah,
it's fine for you guys as long as the stream's going alright. Then you can watch the archived version anyways, and it'll come out fine for you.
And so we've got news here. AMD's released their Relive 17.1.2 WHQL drivers. So official drivers that should work with Windows 10, and they should work perfectly fine. Now, a lot of people have had problems with drivers. Say, for instance, they've got their R9 290 or 290X, and they're like, okay, I installed Relive or Relive, and it doesn't work properly anymore. So what you got to do in that case is get a program called DDU, Direct Driver Uninstaller. It does a really good job. So uninstall your drivers first, then use this program to completely uninstall it out of the registry, and then boot up your PC again, and then do a full clean install, and you shouldn't have any problems. Because I did have that problem when I was testing the Relive drivers before. And then Steve, Hardware Unbox, he recommended me that program because before that I used to actually go into the registry edit and like delete things and stuff. This program just saves all the hassle of doing that. So it's a really good program. Direct Driver Uninstaller. If you're having problems with any Relive drivers, try that. Uninstall, then use DDU, then install Relive and see if you've got any problems after that. You shouldn't. But if you do, then unfortunately use the latest driver that worked for you. Now, some other news here, Kev. OnePlus 3T. You wanted to talk about this. It's got massive 120 gigabytes of internal memory, and it's available for pre-order.
Yeah, so this is I got an actual, this is a OnePlus 3 here, not the 3T, but the 3T is very similar.
Yep.
This is actually a friend of mine's, and they're a great phone. I've been using this just a little bit just to see what it was like, and it's absolutely fantastic for the price that's coming in at. And they're saying these ones will come in at 479 US dollars for the 128 gigabyte version, which I think is extremely good value. That works out to be $625 Australian and about $665 New Zealand.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now you can put double the porn on your smartphone.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, well, okay. I don't think
You know, when I was teaching in Japan, true story. There'd be these kids in the last year, and they'd be like, Brian Sensei, AV. I'm like, what's that? Because I'd never heard of it before. And he's like, look at this. He just like gets his smartphone out and shows me porn. Like, I'm at, on the job. Like, face, like, he's like, I'm like, how much of that stuff you got on there? And he's just like flicking through, like, look at this, man. I'm just like, shit, that's not bad. But no, for real. I was like, I had to put on. That's what I was thinking inside. But I'm thinking, yeah, you can't show that at school, mate. You know.
Yeah.
So now you can. You got double the storage now on your smartphone.
That's good. Yeah, 6 gigs of RAM still. This is a very good phone, very high-end phone for the price. So yeah, if you're a person out there looking for a new smartphone and you're looking for something that's you want to spend a bit of money but you still want very good value, then go for the OnePlus 3T, because it's still an expensive phone. No one's doubting that, but when you compare it to the competition, the price point it's coming at it is very, very, very good.
Yeah, it's funny with smartphones. Like this is weird. I dropped my smartphone, so like the screen's all cracked. It's funny because like years that I've been using phones, I always laughed at people who crack their screens. I'm like, how did you do that? Like how do you even do that? And then like this one, I knew I was gonna have a problem with this one because it's nice and shiny, but at the same time it is also slippery. So I ordered a new screen for it, ordered a new case, everything. So that was only like 30 AUD, like 20 American for a really like metal case. I've got a metal case coming, a new glass screen. But I was at the gym and it just like grabbed my stuff, grabbed my keys, and then it just slipped out and dropped on the floor. And I just heard this. I'm like, oh, geez. So that was a broken screen. So yeah, it does happen. Broken screens, guys, because they're now all tempered glass too. They're not like they don't use any plastic. Sort of, they just use like actual glass, but yeah,
well,
so
yeah,
I don't know.
So no, this is quite interesting that the 3T for you guys out there, it still does retain a 1080p screen, which some people might not like. I personally don't mind it that much.
I love it. I mean, that's a lot of pixels on a screen that small, man. Like I'm comparing it here
the
to
battery life wise, it's better and all that. I mean, it's still an AMOLED display.
Have they done any blind studies yet where they've got the 4K displays and they've tested them versus a 1080p, like same phone? Like if you were to like, just put like some boxing around it and sort of just say, hey, can you tell the difference? Which one's the higher resolution? I'd love to see a blind study like that, hey, and see how many people guess it wrong.
Because people won't, but I mean, the thing is, those 4K phones, they only usually show the 4K resolution in specific apps. Otherwise, they go back down to 1440p.
Right on.
For it's not 4K all the time. Usually, they're only 4K in certain apps when you're watching or playing certain things. So that's why. But
smartphones.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal that people have. People go, oh, it's only a 1080p screen. It's like, really? Is it that big of a deal, guys?
Hey man, you gotta look. You just wake up one day, you're feeling like crap. You have to complain about something. Okay? So, yeah, some people might just be like, 1080p screen? I want a 4K screen. There's something to complain about. Bang. That's your... You got to get it off your chest, though. You can't blame that guy.
Yeah.
He's got to complain about something.
Exactly right. And yeah, software-wise, it's pretty good, too. These OnePlus phones, they run what's called, well, I mean, they're running Android, but they run Oxygen OS over it, but it's very, very light. It's very close to stock Android, which a lot of you guys who purchase Google phones will like also. So it's not like a Samsung phone where you have big bloated TouchWiz over the top of it, which has
Yeah.
billions of bloatware on it.
I
So
was
it's
gonna
good
say,
for
like,
those
what do
people
you
that need
actually
that.
use your smartphone for? Like, for me, I use it for like Twitter, Instagram, taking some photos, checking some prices if I'm out and about and I'm on the mobile, whatever. Checking some things. Like, it's not really like a tool that I
Not
use all the
really.
time. You know, like some people use the things religiously. You know, and then there's gonna be the guy in the comments and he's gonna be, I use it for porn. He's gonna fess up. But yeah, what do you guys like? I wouldn't need 128 gigabytes. Like, I didn't even know.
No, neither
I
would
think this
I.
thing's got like 16 and it's absolutely fine or something like that. So
Yeah, I did. No, you don't. Yeah, I mean, so the power users might who like to use their phone for everything might like it, but no, usually I just use the phone to read the news and chat to people.
I read the news
And
on my computer, man.
well, I do that as well, but if I'm out and about, like if I'm waiting for something,
Okay.
waiting at the barber or something like that, then I'll look at, because I like reading the news when I do something like that. You know, it's entertaining. You can read a whole news article, and it takes a bit of time. So I'll do something, read something like that.
Right on.
Although a lot of it's bizarre, eh? A lot of the news apps are actually really bad. I don't know why the news companies, a lot of times they have really bad apps
Yeah.
when I compare them to other ones I've seen out there. So there's a lot of news services I'd like to read, but the apps are so bad I just deleted them because it's almost sort of unreadable half the time.
All right.
Yeah, no.
So
So
we'll
that's
move
good.
on to Q&A, guys. So Q&A time.
Do you did you want to get through the forum questions?
Yeah, so we
Were
got
there any?
so yeah, well there's a couple of new ones. So he said thanks
Okay.
for answering the questions. So he wanted to know about ECC server RAM on, especially with the 9. I did it with a 920 build I had. Yes, I remember that. There was a build in Japan I did where I used ECC memory, but it was non-registered memory, and I had to update the BIOS to actually use the memory. So it was very weird. Generally, you can only use the ECC memory, the registered stuff, with a motherboard that is designed for whatever workstation motherboard, for example. So usually the consumer motherboards don't support the registered stuff, but
Yeah.
non-registered ECC memory, which was a thing around the X58 time, you can pick that up for cheap. And whether it works or not, sort of like a little bit of a gamble. Sometimes it won't work, sometimes it will work. For me, it worked on both motherboards. I had a Gigabyte and an MSI board. I'm pretty sure it worked on both with a BIOS update on both. So you had to update the
Yeah.
BIOS first. So there was the kicker. So after you updated the BIOS, you could then use that stuff, and it performed alright. I mean, it performed fine. It went up to 1600 megahertz. And you know the funny thing is about overclocking that. I had some 1333 megahertz stuff on the dual Xeon build. Now that's registered ECC. I got that stuff up to 1866 megahertz. It was some fast stuff. So that stuff is pretty like you can't do astronomical overclocks on it because of the way it's designed, but you can
Yeah.
still get some extra performance out of even ECC registered memory. So that's what I've found. That's just my personal experience with it. You know, of course, I'm sure there's going to be a guy out there who's gotten absolutely nothing out of his RAM that's ECC registered, but each to their own. I've got 128 gigabytes of this stuff, so that's a lot of RAM. And when I overclocked it, it
Yeah.
overclocked fine. So we've got here, hi Brian and Kev. Hi, Mr. Moff, how are you? In the next few months, I'll be building a new rig, and his budget's about 3,000 Australian. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
And he was wondering if he should go with Nvidia or an AMD GPU. Also wondering which monitor he should get. He had a Samsung 1440p 60 hertz monitor that died, which he needs to be replaced at ASAP. He can't stand 1080p gaming. Crazy. And I
Yeah.
mean, like I thought 1080p was not too bad. I could stand it, but he definitely wants a 1440p 144 hertz FreeSync or G-Sync, preferably IPS. I like the fact that AMD seems to get better with age, and that they have hardware async compute, which should hopefully benefit from DX12. The only monitor I can find is the Asus MG279Q, which has a FreeSync range of 35 to 90. What would I do?
I sent you a link, Brian. Tell him
Yep.
just bring, if you can bring that link up. That monitor that I've linked to.
Mm-hmm.
That would do you perfectly fine. It's the AOC or AOC Agon AG271QX. This is something I tested a while back.
Okay.
It's a 1440p FreeSync, 144 hertz.
This is
coming
in
in
New
at a
Zealand
competitive
dollars. Don't
price
get
point.
shocked. Don't get shocked by the price. This is in New
Yeah,
Zealand
this is
dollars.
New Zealand dollars. New
which
Zealand
is like
dollars.
half the price in America, maybe. Is that 1440p
Yeah,
though?
Yeah, 1440p. The only downside
Yeah, it
is
is.
that it is TN,
TN,
but
yeah.
I have tested this and it is a very good TN. Very, very good. But if you're someone out there that just absolutely can't stand it, then
I'm judging this guy
but-
is. I mean, I'm not going to say OCD, but I'll say he's got his vision is number one. So, Mr. Muff, your vision is your number one thing. You've got 3,000 Australian dollars. So, what you're going to do is you're going to want to go out. I reviewed the Samsung 1440p ultra wide. Go out, buy one of those things. It's got a VA panel, absolutely phenomenal backlighting, 100 hertz refresh rate. It's gonna do you, man. You're gonna love this thing. It doesn't have G-Sync, probably the only downside. But again, it's got FreeSync support. But you will want to probably get maybe a 1070. That's the problem. Like the AMD cards at the moment, you've only got the RX 480 from the brand new shelf. Yeah, you'd have to wait for Vega if you wanted a legit high-powered AMD card, even to power the one that you're suggesting, the Asus MG279Q. Nice monitor, IPS, pretty good. 144 hertz. So it's up to you. Me personally, I'd be going with these ultra wides. Now, if we're talking high end, if you got 3000 AUD, that's a lot. You could probably put together a 1070 rig and get the 1440p ultra wide for that in that budget.
You are better off waiting though. Right now, guys, if you're thinking about building a system, just wait, because you've got Ryzen coming out soon, which even if you're a diehard
in Australia,
Intel
this
fan,
is the thing though. In Oz, like a lot of the AMD savings don't get passed through, especially on the CPU end. I find that. I mean, I remember comparing like FX 8320 builds in the States versus Australia, and then comparing the same Intel builds from the States versus Australia. The Intel builds were much more in line in terms of, PPP, price parity there. So, as opposed to the AMD builds, the motherboards were ridiculously expensive in Oz. The CPUs were overpriced. I hope this is not a repeat. I mean,
competition should help though. I mean, I doubt that you would expect prices to come down. I'm sure Intel, once Ryzen comes out, if it is competitive, Intel will be dropping their prices to keep their market share. They're not going to I would be very surprised if Intel did not shift their prices.
Yeah.
If Ryzen performs how we think, I would say, I'm not saying they're going to drop by a huge amount, but you'd see 30, 40, $50 drops on different CPUs in their line, depending on where they've got them situated. They can't just drop one. They have to drop all of them in the line, because otherwise it'll come out really funny in terms of their lineup. But I think you'll see the whole lot drop. And then, of course, when Vega comes out, you'll probably see Nvidia do a similar thing with the 1070, 1080s.
Yeah, I mean, the 1070, I mean, that's what I was saying at the moment. I'd pick the 1070 ultra wide, 21x9.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
CPU, I mean, depends. Yeah, it depends. I mean, honestly, you could probably probably go out on Gumtree and pick up a pre-made, and then just drop a 1070 in there. Because I know a lot of people are just selling like their whatever it is, 5820Ks, or they're selling these, and they're great rigs, and they're just selling because they want to get on the 5 gigahertz Cabby Lake, jizz train. So there's that factor out there too. But yeah, I'd go with ultra wide. Go ultra wide, man. Like after using this Samsung monitor, it is brilliant. It is absolutely phenomenal. The sad thing is, like when you first got it, you're like, okay, the colors are oversaturated. Nah, like after using it for a couple of weeks now, the colors are completely normal to my eyes. So what does that tell you? It means your eyes have not been getting the good treatment that they deserve, and then now my eyes are used to it, so it's loving it. So yeah, I'm able to see it. I'm able to see clearly. I don't know, guys. I don't know. So that's a good question.
It's interesting, anyways. But it is a good question. So I would say, if you possibly can, by all means, I think Brian would agree with this in the sense that you will have, even if we take prices out of the equation, at least you'll have more choice. And if you wait a few more months, in CPU,
yeah, I mean, if you
because
can,
Ryzen's gonna
but
be
he said
launching in
he
a few
can't, he
weeks.
just can't stand it, and that's the thing, right? The guy, Mr. Muff, can't stand it at the moment, and I remember that feeling, dude. When I had the when I first got my 3570K, I think it was, Ivy Bridge. I remember I was like, oh, okay, I'll just wait a couple of weeks till the price of the GTX 670 drops down, and then I'll buy one. And dude, I tried gaming on this thing for a couple of days, and I just couldn't handle it. I just rage quit and bought the GPU at the overpriced price because it was bad, man. It was so bad, and I get his feeling. If he just can't stand something, he just wants to upgrade right now. Some people don't want to wait a month, man. That month to them might be worth that $200 or $100 savings that they're going to save. So you can't really put a price on time and experience. That's one thing I've learned. You've got to see all angles. You can't just say, okay, just wait a month. Because this guy, he said he can't stand what he's got now. He just can't stand it. And I know that feeling too. So you got to look at what everyone needs as an individual. I'd say this guy's an individual, man. Just go pull the trigger, bro. Go get that ultra wide. Go get that 1070. Go ham and then just sit back and have fun, man. I'm using it at the moment. I'm using a 1070 and the ultra wide, man. I can vouch for it. It's absolutely phenomenal. At 100 hertz, because a lot of the games at this resolution with a 1070, absolutely no problems. At 100 hertz, it just looks phenomenal, even without G-Sync or FreeSync, which is the way I like it because you get the lowest input lag anyway. So there we go. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that's about it. So that's in the forums questions. If you guys have questions, we'll be answering them on the forums first. So head over to techcity.tv/forums because that way it's more structured. We can sort of get the questions going out rather than flicking through chat and sort of like
Yeah, we'll always go through the forum ones first. So if you 100% want your questions to be answered, then sign up to the forums and post in that thread, and then we'll 100% go and check it out.
But apparently something's going wrong, man, with some of the viewers. Like, they can't see the stream at all. Like, so... Anyway.
Yeah, it's strange, eh?
But the archive will be up, guys. The archive will be up. I'm getting a green light for stream health. I got no drop frames, so there's absolutely nothing on my end, at least going to...
It'll be YouTube.
So it'll be YouTube over in the States or something like that, maybe. So the archive should be up, guys. And we asked, do you think do we have any word on Ryzen overclocking? I've absolutely got none. It's up in the air.
Nah.
I'm guessing it's going to perform similar to the Broadwell CPU lineup. I guess that's, you'd probably be looking at 4 point something max overclocks.
Out of the 8 cores, I'd say you'd probably get early. I think it'd be quite similar to the 6900K. You'd probably get like 4.2 out of them, maybe 4.3.
Yeah,
they're probably not going to be beastly, but we haven't heard anything, so it's hard to tell.
Do we think the prices are real? I mean, that's 6 core at $220. Oh man, it seems too good to be true. If the performance is what it is,
it almost does.
Yeah, right. And you guys should know the saying by now: when it's too good to be true, it usually is.
It usually is. Well, I don't think the prices are false. Just like I think what people could be tripping up
what's the
is
caveat?
The performance might not be up to, because this was the trick with the RX 480, is a lot of people thought the RX 480 at the price point it was coming in at was very good, and they were like, look, this thing's going to be as powerful as a 1070 at this much lower price point. And what ended up being the truth was that it was at that low price point, but the performance didn't come close to the 1070.
Exactly. So what's the drawbacks? That's what I'm sort of like. Is there a down? Like it almost seems too good to be true. So what's the downside here with the Ryzen CPUs? Is there something I'm missing here, or something that we're not? And that's why I was sort of cautioned to that physics score. I was kind of like, you know what I mean? Like I took a step back and I was kind of like, had to sort of take it in for a moment. I was like, okay, well, here's a benchmark that's showing some real differences. So how that's going to really come out for the average consumer is going to be the be all and end all, I guess. So
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, guys, any more questions? But yeah, apparently the stream's it's something really bad with the case. Like I've seen the viewers drop off by half or something, which is unusual. It never usually happens. Usually we get a steady flow of stream viewers. So I apologize on YouTube's behalf, guys. But now my stream health actually is going orange, so I might take off. So yeah, something's actually happening now. So
Okay.
yeah. Anyway, guys.
Yeah, there wasn't necessarily. Oh, one guy said, "What's a good case for custom loop?" People saying the Define S. Yeah, the fractal design Define S would be just fine. That's what I was thinking, or the Define R5 would be, but probably the Define S would probably be the better one. So yeah,
Okay.
either of those would be fantastic. Yeah.
All right, man. All right, well, I'm going to get out of here. We're going to get out of here. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. This was episode 14. Yeah, well, just my stream health has gone to orange light, so I don't know what's going on now.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in, guys. This was episode 14, and we will catch you hopefully next week. Hopefully next week, if no problems happen. So
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace out for now.
See you guys.
Bye.